But every time I would get my salary deposited in my account, I would say, this will not take you where you want.
Do you think it's a good idea to be an employee in your own company?
I think there is an oversupply of people who wants to be leaders and undersupply of a good follower. Because we live in a world where everybody wants to be the boss, wants to be the leader. Like, why?
Marketing, it's probably the most important thing. It starts from day one.
Promote the book before writing the book. And if you see enough interest and people know you, then write the book. He said, my book is a bestseller, is not a best written.
CEOs, what are the skills that they need to have?
When an owner is like in the middle of his employees, boots on the ground, seeing the owner going the extra mile and doing the extra makes them do 10 out of 10 or even 11. Like, they go crazy. Now the question is, do you want to be there every day to boost the morale and get 10 out of 10 out of me? Or do you want to not be here every day, maybe show up once a month and accept my 7 out of 10?
If you wanted to start your own company from scratch again, what are the things that you do differently? Would you do everything the same? Okay, thank you very much for joining, guys. Appreciate it. Today we have a special guest. He went from the oil sector to starting his own business to consulting. Now he consults people and help people and throughout their businesses. Stick around. You're going to know a lot of things, especially if you're thinking about starting your own business. It's going to be really helpful for you. And we're going to answer questions like, when can you hire a person to help you in your business, for example? When can you delegate some tasks? And when can you expect revenues, for example? We're going to learn that throughout this episode. Just a quick reminder, guys, please hit that subscribe button and send it to your friends. It's going to be very helpful. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Ahmed. And then his name is Ahmad Ndoom. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sulaiman. Thank you for thinking of me to having me on your podcast. And hopefully we're going to share some good information. It's going to be fun and hopefully even beneficial.
Yeah, appreciate it. So you started in the oil industry?
Yes, but actually this was my third job. First job was in a bank, but that was brief, like a couple of months. And then I moved into another job in a power plant, stayed in that for a year, and then went to the oil sector. In the oil sector, I worked in a petrochemical company. And in that company, I was in the business development department. So what we do is feasibility studies for new projects or due diligence for acquisition opportunities or joint ventures. So pretty much that was the experience, and then moved to the next step.
What made you move to the next step? What made you decide on that?
To leave the last job?
Yeah.
Ever since I was in college, maybe second year in college or something, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Very famous book. And after reading that book, well, actually I read it, it was a period of my life when I discovered there was a thing called self-development. I never knew that thing existed. Or maybe I knew, but not really focused on it or anything. Did not take it seriously or whatever. So I got a spur, a period where I just was reading a lot of self-development books, plus really working hard in school. So that was a highly productive period of life. And I read the book, and at the end of the book, I said it would be nice to have 10 houses rented, and then I just collect the rent and don't have to work or do anything. So I always had the idea of I need to own 10 houses and rent them, and then I will have a great life. But now that I remember, even when I was a kid, I always they used to ask me when I was 4 or 5, what do you want to do when you grow up? I used to say I want to own a car dealership. I want to have a car showroom. So I always wanted to do something to own a company and do something big. This has always been the dream and the goal. So while on the job, it was a great job, great place, loved it. But every time I would get my salary deposited in my account, I would say, this will not take you where you want. It will give you a good life. It will be comfortable. You will have fun. You can travel, go on vacation, whatever. But this is not going to give you the life you want. So do you really want this life, or what are we doing here? You know, it's like we're wasting years if the goal is still the goal. Or if I'm serious about the goal, it's not just like, oh, it would be nice if, you know. A lot of people, I think, see goals as something that is, it would be nice if this happens or that happened. But I believe to have a goal and be serious about it means you actually want to pay the price. Meaning, if a guy says, I would like to finish a marathon, if he's serious, it's not just like, wishful thinking or whatever, like serious, then that means the guy wants to run 42 kilometers. He wants to. He wants the price as much as the prize. So if you just say, I would like to be a marathon finisher, but I don't want to run, like, you're crazy, because they are almost the same thing, you know? I want to lose weight, but I don't want to give up ice cream. But it does not work that way. So are you just giving wishes, or are you really want to do that? Because if you want to do that, then you want to pay the price. So I think the goal and the price is one thing. So I reached a point, I said, hey, this will not take me where I want. I have to stop. And the longer I go, it's going to get even worse, because I'm going to be dependable more on the salary, and the salary is going to increase. So not only am I more dependable on it, but it's actually bigger of a thing to leave. Like if it was, say, 100, now it's 200. So it is twice as hard to leave 200 than it is to leave 100. So I said, you know what, I got to stop and then just start on my own.
So the first 3 jobs that you had, did you learn anything from them business-wise? Or did you just start brand new?
First job was only 3 months, so I would not say I learned a lot. It was nice to get the experience of rubbing elbows and being in the field, right? This is always a good experience to be in the field. So this was that. And the second job, I did not learn a lot. It was okay. Third job, I learned maybe a couple things, not even much. I learned how an organization is created or not created, how it is like as of now. I walk in a company that has been there for like 50 years, 20 years, and you see what is going on now. But this is actually not enough to understand how to create it. You see a house and you say, oh, good, a house is 2 floors, a living room, and upstairs the bedrooms. But that does not give you enough to know how to design a house and build a house. To learn how to design a house and build a house, you need to design a house and build a house, not see a finished product. So sometimes to work for an ongoing organization can teach you a lot, but I don't think it necessarily teach you how to actually create your own company, because the building of a company is a whole different game than to run an existing company. And I think a lot of people who have not started a company may not have noticed that or know that, or because they never thought of it. They just think a company is a company. A company is always there. You go in, you work 30 years and you leave, and the company's still there, like as if it was there since the beginning of existence. Like, no, somebody actually created this thing on one day. Like yesterday it was not there, today's there, and then you continue on. So and maybe we can discuss this later, but so I learned a few things. I wouldn't say much, but it's always better to be working in a job with people and producing and experiencing things rather than just being not doing anything. So it is, of course, good to be there,
Yeah. So you said you did 24 months of growth. Tell us about that experience.
So this was 3 jobs, and then I went to our own company I had with my partners. I was only a partner that I put money. And then after leaving the 3rd job, I started to actively manage with them the company. So we were having difficulties and challenges and maybe not making a lot of money, or actually losing money. And then when I started actively working and managing, we started to make money consecutively for 24 months. So this was when I really learned how to run a company, because when you have a company and it's losing money, the hardest thing is to have the self-confidence to say, I can make it better, because everything else is telling you like you're a loser or you suck or whatever, right? Like, I'm losing money last month and the month before that and the month before that. How am I going to get the confidence to say this is the right decision and we're going to go and execute it and we're going to make it work and it will work and we will win? Like, how do you get this confidence when all the records show that you have been losing? So I think this is the most difficult thing to do in a time of where a company is losing. So we did that, and then we just bet on the plan that we have to work, and it did work. And the more it works, the more confidence you have that, hey, I had 6 months of successful operations and we're making money. Probably the 7th month is going to be successful, because we're in a roll. We are on a roll, or there is a momentum that is going or helping us. So this is when I really learned how to run a company, and that continued for 24 months. And then at the end of that period, I left that company and started the consulting. So the consulting was based on not only knowledge, but the actual experience of running a company and turning things around and taking a company from a loss, and how to pay off debts and save enough money to continue operation, and how to, make money, give profits to partners, and the whole array of activities that is within the running of an organization.
So let's start with our topic today, which is business.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think starting a business is for everyone, or is it for specific? What should they do before they start business?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it for everyone? This is a hard question because maybe somebody wants to start a business even if he fails. So if he says, I'm willing to start a business, and whether it fails or succeed, I'm fine with both. So yes, starting a business is for you because you want to do it. So I would say, would everyone be successful if they ran their own business? I know that I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want to say, yeah, everybody can be successful. I mean, life is, I don't want to be like overly optimistic for no reason. And at the same time, I don't want to tell someone, hey, you cannot own a business. Maybe he can. And I'm just, I don't know his potential. I remember one time I was in a meeting with someone, and it was about a collaboration. And I told him, he was telling us, let's all collaborate to do some kind of business or something. And I did not want to collaborate. I had a different idea in mind. So he told me like, dude, we have to collaborate. You cannot make it alone. So that got me like provoked, like you don't know me. This is the first time we ever sit together. How do you know I cannot do it? So I told him like, you have no idea how much potential I have. And I just walked away. But it was at the end of the meeting. I said, you have no idea how much potential I have. And it's good because then I did the thing that I was planning on and it succeeded. So probably he watched or not, I don't know. But the idea is, I don't know your potential. You could be the best person in writing books. And maybe you ask me, should I write a book? And I say, no, just stick to the podcast. But maybe you're going to be the best author in the world. So what do I know to say, are you going to be a successful writer? Only you know. And by experience, you will see what the market wants, what it does not want. Are you going to adapt? Are you able to capture people's attention with your book? Blah, blah, blah. So this you will know through experience with the real world. But for me to say you can, if I say you can, is good because it is like positive. But what if that makes you jump in and then you realize, I did not want to do this. So by telling you yes, it might not be helpful. By telling you no, of course not helpful. So I think everybody should evaluate for himself whether he is the type of person who should have his own business or work for someone. And I think, I think there is an oversupply of people who wants to be leaders these days, and undersupply of a good follower, a good, responsible, smart follower. I mean, this is the most valuable thing maybe in the world today. Because we live in a world where everybody wants to be the boss, wants to be the leader. I want to run my own business. I want to be my own boss. Like, why? I want to be my own boss. Why? Like, how does this help you? I am today my own boss. If I work for you and you pay me 10 times what I make today, I will happily not be my own boss, you know? The only reason I'm my own boss is to create the income or create the income, essentially, that I want. But if there's better opportunity working for you than working for myself, it will be stupid not to work for you. I should work for you. So people think I want to be my own boss as if this is a goal. Like, that's not a goal. Like, if that's a goal, that's a stupid goal because it does not help you. Your goals should help you make your life better. So people thinking I want to quit my job, start my business to be my own boss, like, that's not a good reason. A good reason would be I'm making 1,000 and I'm like doing this thing part-time, for example, but if I do that thing full-time, I will make twice the money I'm making on the job. So I should leave the job and do my own thing because it will make my standard of living higher. So that's a good goal. But to open a business just to be the boss, I think that is not a goal. That is just like a whim, or that's a desire that people think is important. But once they experience it, they see like, what's the big deal? Being the boss is not really that much. It's much better to be rich than to be the boss.
Yeah,
you know,
I think they associate it with being free. For example, if you have your own business, they think they're free. Yeah. Nobody has control over them, or But what do you think about that as a consultant? Yeah,
I think everybody has control over you the moment you open the business, because now every customer is the boss, especially at the beginning, because who am I for you to buy from me? So I'm borderline begging you to buy. So if I'm begging you to buy, like, who's the boss? Am I the boss? And then you buy and I'm like, thank you so much. Give me the money. You leave. But that's not enough. The rent is 1,000 and salaries is 1,000 and you only paid me 100. So I'm still like negative 1,900. And I need another 20 people to come and do what you did. So I'm just breaking even. So the next guy who's walking in is the boss, and the next guy and the next guy. The moment that you really become the boss is when you have so much customers that you're able to lose a customer without even caring. Like I say, I'll respect you. I'll give you great service. I will give you the product that we have, which is a good quality. But if we do all this and we cannot win you, I'm sorry. That's when you're the boss. But that takes years of building a customer base that is big enough that I'm able to lose one or two, no problem. I'm able to take on a 1-star review, no problem. But if I'm at the beginning and I only have you as a customer, like, you are the boss, you're paying me. So, or if I have 10 people, they're the boss. So I think a business owner is far from being the boss.
Too fast. Yeah.
Too fast. Like, he's anything but the boss, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't think that's freedom. I think that's a lot of obligation to many people that you have no control over, that you need to please in order to survive until you have enough of a customer base.
What are the non-negotiables if someone wants to start a business? What are the first thing that they have to do before they jump into their niche, maybe?
Yes, I would say don't quit the job at first. And I say this while at the same time, I also hold another belief that, like, to know life, you gotta jump without a parachute, just like jump and figure it out on the way. There is like a meme where they put an entrepreneur is the guy who jumps from an airplane while falling. He creates the airplane and survives, or whatever. I think there is truth to this. When the only option you have is to sell the guy in front of you, or you will be evicted from your apartment, you're going to be the best salesman in the world. With zero sales experience, the amount of pressure on you to make the sale is enough to get the sale done. So So sometimes you need the pressure to bring the best out of you. But at the same time, I would say like that's a very risky thing to do, to put yourself in, burn the boats and success is your only option to merely survive. That is a very big risk, and I don't know if everybody wants to do it, especially a person with responsibilities such as marriage and rent and kids. Like, I don't think they can afford this, because if it does not work out for a month, it's going to be a disaster. So I really don't know which one to pick still today, because what I did is to throw myself in there and have this as my only option to make it, and then I made it. This is with the company that we owned, because I had no job, so the company had to succeed. And even after I left the company and I was doing consulting, that was my sole source of income. So I had to make it work, and then it worked. So my own personal experience say, throw yourself in with no plan B to make it succeed. But I also can understand someone who does not want to do it. So I really don't know which one to tell the person, because I think that's a decision for a person to make, whether he wants to quit a job or stay in the job and build the business. And I don't know if somebody who was on a job and started a business ever succeeded. Maybe there's a lot of people, I just don't know a name. I think, you know what, like, back to the sales scenario. You're sitting with a guy. The guy is not a nice guy. He's rude. You don't like him. You wanna just leave. You don't want to have a conversation with this person. And your salary is $5,000 a month, and you're well off. And you see the guy and you say, "You're giving me all this hard time because of a $300 sale. I don't want your money," and you leave. But if every time you're in this position you will leave, you will not make any sale. So having enough money could work against you in handling or tolerating a bad person. Question: should I tolerate a bad person? I don't know. I think if he has the keys to your success, maybe you should tolerate him. But if you have enough money, you will say, like, I'm not going to tolerate this guy. I would like a good customer. But who cares? A good customer is a customer who will buy. So if he's rude, or if he's not nice, or the conversation is the worst, like, who cares? He's the customer. So if you have the money, you will not close that sale, because you probably leave. Like, you say, "Oh, I guess we don't have the product for you, sir. Okay, have a good day," and leave, because you don't need to. But if that's the only option you have to close the sale. So now, with this amount of pressure, I think that pressure helps so much in a company succeeding. But as I told you, I think there's two options, and a person chooses the one he feels suits him better.
Mm-hmm. So before jumping in, should they, I mean, after doing the research and whatnot, what are maybe the first 2 to 3 things, other than not quitting their job, maybe, can they do?
I feel nothing will prepare you to run your company but running your company. I think it is like, you see general managers in huge companies, in big corporations, VPs, directors, blah, blah. And you see the guy running a company that is making $500 million a year, or $1 billion a year. And you say, this guy is running this company, or he's a VP, or just under the VP, he's a general manager. He's buying things for millions of dollars and doing big KPIs, blah, blah, blah. How come the guy is still living on a salary rather than owning a company of this size? If you're a general manager in a company that is doing $500 million a year, and you're getting, for example, your salary is $500,000 a year, shouldn't you go and open your own company and make a couple $1 million a year? How come you're tolerating the job? Shouldn't you seek ownership? Because it's gonna bring you money whether you work or not, blah, blah, blah. It has the potential, and you know how to do the business. How come you don't start your own business? And I think the answer is, being a general manager in a big corporation is very different than opening the business. So he will not necessarily succeed if he opens the business. It's not like being a general manager does not transfer into being a business owner, especially starting from scratch. So I don't know what prepares a person to start his own business. I think first step is to go in and experience it yourself, because when you experience it yourself, you will see what you're lacking. You jumping in the water will teach you the questions you want to have answered. So I think a person gotta just jump in, because a lot of people are thinkers,
Preparing too much.
Yeah, overthinkers. Love to think, plan, do nothing. And this is the worst, because you can think for a year, but if you do not take action, you did not take action, and there is nothing happening. So I think I think a very good advice: don't spend too much on the first business. Don't go in with like $200,000 startup capital. We need capital. We need the best location. We need the best marketing team. We spent $5,000 on the logo. Like, no. Go in with the least amount of money you can. And the least amount of fixed cost as well. Like, don't get high rent. Don't get employees. Do it yourself. Try to minimize cost as much as possible, so that rather than losing $5,000 a month, lose $100 a month. So you can keep it going for as long as needed for you to learn the business and learn what you're good at and what you're lacking, and develop those skills, and to get the experience, because you want the experience, you want the hours, you want to spend time running the business and building the business, because this will teach you so much. But if you're starting with big capital and high expenses, you will not be able to keep it going for 2-3 years. So you're not able to get the experience to become good, to then go again in the market and succeed. So jump in with the least amount of expenses possible, so that whether it's the startup capital or the monthly expenses, so you can stretch this experience as much as possible and learn as much as possible. And through stretching this experience and learning every day, you will find the way to succeed. But what I see is a lot of people thinking spending big at the beginning will give them success, and they don't, and the business end up closing, So I think this, for me, is 100% a good plan. Spend as least as possible.
And what should they keep track of from day one? What are the to-do lists that they need to keep in check every week, maybe, or every day? Or
3 things. Marketing.
Okay.
Because nobody knows you, so nobody's buying. And maybe you go in for a first month and your friends and family start buying just because they want to support, and you're happy and you think, oh, well, first month we did $10,000. No, you did not do $10,000. This is not real revenue, and you should not count on month 2 being the same or even better. Month 2 could be $1,000. You can just like deep dive. So what a person should do, marketing and sales as much as possible. You cannot get enough exposure, especially good exposure, of course, at the beginning, because that is all you need. This is what I see with books, right? A guy spends a year writing a book and does not spend a week promoting the book. And nobody knows the book exists in this universe. So of course nobody's buying. And he's like, how come my book is not selling? I spent a year planning and writing it. Because we don't know that you have a book. We don't even know you. So how are we going to buy your book? So promotion, it would be genius if the guy promotes the book before writing the book. But people think this is counter intuitive, or like this. How is that possible? Because if you start your journey and you say, I'm writing a book about a novel of a person who used to work in, I don't know where, like Kuwaiti guy who went to Japan and then he started his own interior design business, and he brought the Kuwaiti architecture to Japan, and then blah, blah, blah. And then you start promoting this novel that you have not wrote yet. And you see a lot of people are saying like, oh my God, that's great. I would really love to read it. I will, and you say, okay, we're taking your pre-ordering, and you get 10,000 people paying. You say, oh, I probably should write this novel, you know? And you just go inside a room, lock the room for 3 days and come out with a novel. But if you write a novel about this guy living in Japan and bringing the Kuwaiti architecture to Japan, and then you start promoting it and people say like, we're not interested. Kuwaiti guy in Japan, we don't care. So you spend the whole year writing, but then there is no customer. So who did you write it for? Yourself? You did not need to write it for yourself. You could just imagine it, you know, without doing any effort. So, but do the customer want this? How do we know? By promoting and, you know, like market research. Those terminologies that are used, maybe sometimes overused, I don't think they actually deliver on what they promise. Like, you do a market research because you want to know what people want, and then you get a 100 pages report that tells you you don't know what, and then you don't use it, and then you throw it away, and you just do what you had an intention to do anyway. So I think it's best to just, like, especially for someone starting a new business, large corporation needs the market research and the feasibility, blah blah blah, because of the whole like the way they operate. I do understand, but I'm talking about somebody starting up. I think just like promote the book before writing the book, and if you see enough interest and people know you, then write the book, and that is going to solve a lot of problems. I heard a guy saying, I don't know who he was exactly. I heard this story from 2 different sources. He was an author, bestseller author, and he had a book best-selling, a New York bestseller, I think. And another author, a lady, literature graduate, blah blah blah, she said, how come your book is a bestseller? I wrote a book and it did not sell, so tell me how to become a bestseller. He told her, my book, I think she told him, it's not even a good book. He said, my book is a bestseller, it's not a best written. Like, it's not a best written book. It might not be a very good book. It's an okay book, but it sold so much. Now, when you read a book, maybe you read a book and you say like, good. It was not the best book ever. It was a good book, but you bought it. It's better than the best book that you never heard of. So that's what he was trying to tell her, but she got offended, saying like, this is a disgrace to literature, and, you know, like a book should be valued, blah, 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 blah.
Nobody cares.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, they don't know you. So I think this is what people should focus on: marketing and promoting themselves and getting themselves out there so people know them. And then this is when the ball start rolling and you start getting the sales. And when you make the sale, now you need to produce the product, right? Whether you're like making tables or you're making books or microphones. And when you try to produce the product, now you get into the operations. And the more you produce, the more you're going to see the operation problems. And now you need to solve them. But without sales, like, there is no operation problems to solve because there is no operation, you know? So at the beginning, almost all the attention should be on marketing and promoting yourself.
When should they start delegating? When should they start maybe hiring an employee to help them? And
I think when you reach a point where you cannot do it by yourself anymore. People sometimes, this is, I was talking to a speaker. He says, I have 2 employees. One to do the government tasks, like renewing licenses, stuff like that. And another is my secretary who takes my appointment. And I was saying in my head, dude, I know your schedule is empty. Why don't you do them yourself? Like, what do you have in the mornings? You don't have anything. I mean, the government tasks are probably not taking much time. They're not like infrequent, maybe like once a month, twice a month, whatever. So it's not much. Like, you can do it yourself. And you don't need a secretary. You can do it yourself, because I don't think 1,000 people are talking to you every day. Maybe 1, 2 people. Why are you not doing it themselves? He says, no, I don't like to negotiate my own contracts because I like to leave a space. Like, who taught you this? Is this true? Like, is this correct? Is this the best? Isn't it better for you to actually negotiate your own contracts? I mean, if you go, LeBron James sits on the contract table with probably the deals that he gets, and he negotiates his own contracts. Are you more important than LeBron James? You know, like, why are you not sitting with the guy who's going to pay you? Why are you sending someone else? Go yourself. You're not busy. The only time you should send somebody else is when you're fully booked. And then you ask yourself, Is it better for me to come here and edit this Excel sheet? Or should I go to the meeting with the client and have him pay me? And if it's better for me to come and sit with you so you pay me, then I would delegate this Excel sheet to somebody and hire him and pay him, because I have something more important, more valuable to the company to do. So people think delegation is something they should do. Like as if like, oh, why are you doing all the work? You should delegate. But why? Delegation should only happen when you are working at your 100% capacity. Now, the load is higher than load is here and the capacity is here. So you're not able to complete all your tasks. So you hire somebody so the capacity goes up here. So workload should surpass your capacity before hiring your first employee. As long as you have time and ability to do the job yourself, you should not hire anybody. You should do everything yourself. It's cheaper and you're going to learn the business, and there is no reason to hire. It's not like a badge of honor. I have 10 employees. Good. Pay them every month. You know, like what do I care? Is it better to have 0 employees and make $1 million a month, or have 10 and make $1 million? 0, because I don't have to pay them. Some people think it is like to brag about how many employees you have. I don't need to know how many employees do you have. How much money are you making every year? That is what you should brag about. And this is the real key number to track. Like you were talking about what numbers to track or what they should do on a weekly to-do list. They should track their income every week, every day maybe. Like, oh, today I made $0. Good. Confront it. Say, I made $0 today because everything that I did today was not enough to generate $1. Good. Like, face this truth and come tomorrow and do all your stuff. And if you made 0, say, okay, today I also made 0. And tomorrow you say, I'm sick of making $0 a day. I need to make something happen. Good. Do something. And now you make 10, 20,000, blah, blah, blah. So track your sales every day. And then depending on how big the company becomes, blah, 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 you start maybe track it weekly. But at the beginnings, daily, of course, and weekly for sure, you know. Track how much money you're making, because this is the most important number that is telling the whole story. How much money did you make this week? 0. Good. That told me the whole story. The story is you're not doing enough to make a guy pay you $1. If I told you how much money you made this week and you say $1 million, wow, that told me the whole story. You have very good organization, very organized, and very well known, properly promoted, enough to make people pay you this much money. You're a great success. I don't need you to tell me all these details. The number told me the story. So track the number that is telling the story to know your story, you know, because you can kid yourself and say, but I really worked hard today. Good. Was not enough. Maybe not even correct. Maybe you're working on the wrong things. The number will tell you if you're doing the right thing.
Do you think it's a good idea to be an employee in your own company, or is it better to manage rather than doing the work? Maybe in the beginning stages you have to do it, but if it continues, is it a problem, or should they like back off or start managing?
Of course, as the organization gets bigger, you will be moving upward in the hierarchy. You could stop at the CEO, or you could even leave the company. For example, you see banks. You walk in a bank. Where is the owner? Nowhere to be seen. How many owners does a bank have? A lot of people. Shareholders plus the major shareholders. Maybe they meet a board meeting once a month. I don't know. Probably like no more than once a month. I don't think they meet weekly. Good. So a bank can be multi-billion-dollar company and the owner is nowhere to be found. Only a CEO that is answering to a board of directors or owners that meet I don't think weekly, almost impossible. I will say monthly. So owners could show up to their own companies once a month and make their company a multi-billion-dollar company. And many companies are proof of this concept. You know them, I know them, everybody knows them. So this is possible. Good. Now there is the other scenario. You see Elon Musk, richest guy in the world. He says, I slept in the factory in Tesla in the meeting room. Question. Why does Elon Musk need to sleep in the factory? Is he stupid? Oh yeah, Elon Musk is stupid. Oh really? A guy who owns $200 billion stupid? But you're in debt, so what are you? You know? The guy is saying the richest person in the world is stupid. Like, how stupid do you have to be to think that this guy is stupid, you know? Like, it's crazy. Bill Gates is stupid. Jeff Bezos is stupid. No, they're not stupid. They're extremely smart. And this is how they were able to do all this. So he must see something in sleeping in a factory that makes him do it. And I think when an owner is like in the middle of his employees, boots on the ground, I think it gives a certain boost in the morale of the team. And that team, rather than producing at like a level of 7 out of 10, seeing the owner going the extra mile and doing the like extra makes them do like 10 out of 10 or even 11. Like they go crazy. They really want to work for this company. So I think there is this element of boosting the morale by being there with your team. Now the question is, do you want to be there every day to boost the morale and get 10 out of 10 out of me? Or do you want to not be here every day, maybe show up once a month and accept my 7 out of 10? Now this is a decision for you to make as an owner. But we know both scenarios do exist and we know people who have done them. So both are possible and both can be successful, but then it becomes a question of what do you want your company to be? Do you want to be the CEO? Like Jeff Bezos, I think, was CEO of Amazon until like recently, maybe 3-5 years ago that he stopped. The guy started maybe in the 90s and continued running it for like 25 years, being the CEO. So he has to be there every day, I think. So I think both models can be successful, but for sure, as the company grow, you need to delegate more. Not because it is the right thing to do, because if you don't, you will be spending your time focusing on small tasks that anybody can do rather than thinking of how to grow the company. Because what is the job of the owner? The job of the owner is one thing, expanding the company in terms of profit. And as you expand in terms of profit, you're going to expand in terms of number of branches, number of employees, blah, 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 because it goes almost together. Unless you come up with a new idea that, you know, like that's a different thing. So your job is to expand the company. But if you're the accountant of the company and you're spending half the month just reading reports, creating reports, doing the salaries, your time is too valuable to do this. Only if it is actually too valuable to do this. But if you're not making any money and you have all the time in the world and you don't want to hire an accountant, you doing this is the best thing. But as you grow, there is more important things for your time to be used at. So you should delegate the accounting, and you should delegate the purchasing, and you should delegate the blah and blah blah blah, and then maybe hold on to maybe only marketing, because especially if you're like the face of the company, like Elon Musk with Tesla, or Bill Gates with Microsoft, or Steve Jobs with Apple. Like Steve Jobs, or even Warren Buffett, he was the CEO until he just resigned, I think last week.
Last week, yeah.
So, and he's a genius marketer. He's always on NBC, MSNBC, like those channels, and he's talking about the market and blah, blah. So this, of course, is creating trust. Like, I've never invested with him, but I have tremendous trust in him, in his ability to know where to allocate the funds and the money. Why? Because I know him and I heard what he did and I know his story and everything else. So now Warren Buffett is a personal brand for like Berkshire Hathaway. So he is doing part of the marketing, right? So I think marketing is one of those tasks that stays with you, especially if you're known to be the owner of the company. But for a company that you never know who owns it, like many large corporations, if I told you like who owns Sony or Toyota, or like, I don't know who's the owner, but I know the company's good. So probably the owners are not involved in the marketing. So, but I think in this day and age, I think personal branding is growing, and a lot of owners are now becoming celebrities to help support the company. So it is going hand in hand. So if that is the case with you, you probably stay with the marketing until very advanced stage. But definitely, if you want to be one of the companies that you're not actively running, you should grow using your own productivity and then hire. And the last guy you hire could be the CEO, and then it's just like running on autopilot, and you're just monitoring the CEO, and he's reaching the goals that you set for him, and this is good. I think that's a very good scenario.
Yeah, interesting. And that's really important. We discussed that before many times. Marketing, it's probably the most important thing. It starts from day one, as you just mentioned, and it keeps going until forever. As long as the company is running, it's always a plus to do marketing. Basically,
I agree.
Always. When is the realistic time where they can expect revenues?
So this depends on the type of business you're involved in. For example, if you're doing photography, you have no cost. So any client is a profit, because you own the camera and it's your work and your productivity, and then you're editing for the guy and sending him, and you're making money. Now, you're not making a lot of money, but all this money is profit because you have no expenses. But if you are a company with higher expenses, then it's probably going to take longer. So this is why I said at the beginning, start with the least amount of expenses possible. So this day becomes very early rather than to have to go for a year or two. Because now you see, with the Silicon Valley models where you build a company, they call it pre-revenue, and then it is just collecting users, and then they make it monetize this company somehow. But this model, they have even a phrase or like a word. It is like burn rate. How much money you're burning per month. I said, what? It is how much money your company is losing per month. Almost everybody is losing money that they come up with a word. Like, why would you come up with a word? It must be something that is happening a lot, So this company has a burning rate of $30,000 a month. Like, what does that mean? Like, every month they lose $30,000. Where is the money coming from? It's coming from the investor. So you start the company and investors put $1 million. Now you're losing $50,000 a month, for example. So you go for one full year. So you start with $1 million. Now you have 400,000. Now that's not enough for next year. So what do? You sell more shares of the company for new investors to have more money in the company to be able to continue burning, because you're like pre-revenue. And then you continue to burn until you reach a point where you can make it profitable by creating something or like something to monetize within the system. So now you're making revenue. So now someone might say like, Ahmad, who are you to say Silicon Valley is wrong? People are making billions. I understand that. Of course, they're like the ones who are making the money, because in every like fad where there is Uber and there is Facebook and there's Instagram, inside the circle, there is also 1,000 people who are not going to make it. So a photographer that is making $1,000 a month is better than a guy who's pretending to be the next big thing, but is actually losing $1 million a year, and then he's got to close the company because he never made anything good. He was just losing money for a year. Like, is that an accomplishment? Oh, but I was losing it similar to the big guy. But the big guy is the big guy and he made it. You did not make it. So what are you telling me? So I don't like this model of burning money until blah, 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 and investors. I don't like it. I cannot say it's wrong because some people did it and they are very successful. So maybe they know it's better than me. But I like the classic, create something good, sell it to people, make the money, take the money, use it to expand the company, and so on and so forth. And hey, it's working very well. Is the other model working? Possibly, I don't know. But I prefer this classic model. So when should someone expect to make profits? depends on his expenses. If his expenses are zero, the first dollar he makes is profit. But I was just reading a quote the other day. It says, the first 3 years of business is not where you make money. The first 3 years of business when you become good. When you become good, now you make the money. So it's like saying first 3 years, don't expect to be rich. But you're going to fail at so many things and learn so many things and become good at so many things that the person you become after year 3 is a totally different person. And even though your friends might be making more money than you at their jobs and you're making way less, but you're working 5 times as hard and making less money for 3 years. But now the person you became and what you know, nobody else knows. And now it is possible for you to go make as much as they do, or 5 times or 10 times or even more. But these 3 years, I feel, are like the barrier to entry into entrepreneurship. I feel running a company is very easy and very simple. Nobody can believe how simple it is. And until they run it and they say, like, this is very easy. But it's also extremely hard because you need to market and you know how to run the operations. Operations are running perfectly, you're marketing perfectly, and then a change happened in people's taste. And you need to accommodate. And you accommodate for this change by trying new things. This is all you know. But how long will we need until we catch the thing that people like today? And will we catch it and will they still like us? Like, I don't know. That is something that is going to happen next year. I know that is going to happen, and I know I need to take actions in order to continue to succeed. But am I going to be successful next year in doing this? I don't know. Hopefully, So it is simple. It's easy. You know what you need to do. But are you going to succeed? Like, who knows? So these 3 years, the gap is what keeps a lot of people here and not make the jump. And almost all the money is here. Like you see company owners, guys worth $5 billion. I personally have not seen an employee worth $5 billion. Possibly that's impossible because how much shares and percentage of profit they're going to give him. Maybe he's like going to have $50 million, $100 million at best. I don't know. Possibly there is a billionaire who got this from his salary. I feel very unlikely, almost nobody. So all the money in ownership, but almost everybody not owning. How come? And those people are probably equally as smart. I think it is this barrier of 3 years of working 5-10 times harder than your friends and making less money, and everybody's telling you you're wasting your life. But you need to walk through these 3 years in order to go to the ownership island.
Yeah. To the promised land, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure you saw a lot of mistakes people did with scaling. What are the common mistakes you see over and over? Sometimes it's doing good, but the minute they scale, everything collapses and everything goes, the opposite side.
Yes. I think people are too eager to sit in a boardroom and look at a graph and you say, we're expecting 5% growth in the next quarter. They would love to live this life. Who cares where you're sitting? If you're sitting in a basement or you're sitting in the street or you're sitting in the boardroom, who cares where you're sitting? The question is, how much money are you making? So the guy has one branch and he's probably sitting on a cashier because there is no other chair to sit on. And he's talking to customers all day and he knows exactly what people like and he's accommodating. And then an investor says, oh, I really love your coffee shop. Maybe you're going to be the next big name. Let me invest a couple $1 million with you so we can have 10 branches. And the guy says, yes, good. And then rather than wearing the barista outfit, the guy's showing up with suits and renting an office in downtown. And he's looking at graphs and prices of purchasing beans from different parts of the world. And there's nobody in the cashier. And the guy said, hey, why did you change the coffee? I hate it. It was great before, but he never heard this feedback. And he continues with a new kind because he's saving 2% on beans. Imagine if this times billion, blah, 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 this crazy projections. And then and then the business fails. If sitting behind the cashier got you the investor and got you the success, why are you taking the barista outfit out and wearing a suit and sitting in an office in downtown? Shouldn't you spend twice as long behind the cashier to get the twice as big investor? You know, why are you changing? If you're making a cake and it's great and everybody love it, and they say, please, let's open a business selling this cake, why would you change the recipe? It's crazy. It's nonsense. It is insanity. But people do it every day. They think they went into like expansion mode. We're a big corporation. We're the big shots. We're gonna make it big. Blah blah blah. And they change everything. And you like, why are you changing everything? The older recipe was the successful recipe. Who told you about this new recipe? I don't know. I thought this is what expansion was. Who taught you this? I don't know. Maybe I saw it in a movie. Who cares about the movie? But all big businesses only sit in boardrooms and think about next quarters. Yes, but you used to measure yourself daily. You used to check the daily sales. And if today's sales are down, you take action. Now you're thinking in terms of 3 months. Why? And they have no explanation. I think one of the best traits of a successful person in general, an entrepreneur for sure, is don't go crazy when you see the big money. When you see the big money, just relax. Go home, sleep early, wake up, have breakfast. It's normal. Nothing is happening. It is not the end of the world. It's not like, hey, you had $10,000 in your account. Now you have 2 million. Great. You used to have eggs for breakfast. Why are you not having breakfast next morning? Just have the eggs, you know? Like, why are you changing your life? You see the guy, 18 years old, on social media, all of a sudden becomes very famous, makes the money, and he used to go hang out with his friends, play video games every night, and then he makes the money, and he's on drugs, making car accident, going 200 miles an hour. Like, dude, what happened? Why did you take this car that is expensive? Why did you get drunk? And why did you go 200 miles per hour? Like, why? Why didn't you just continue to play the video game? It was great lifestyle. It got you the money. It got you the fame. It got you everything. Why do you just change your whole life? People do it every time. But the guy who's able to constrain himself or like to discipline himself into doing the actions that got him there is the guy who will continue to succeed. And that is very simple, yet extremely hard. And people think everything that is simple is easy. No, some things are very simple, as in, don't do anything new, just keep doing what you're doing. But I have a lot of money, I would like to go crazy. Well, don't. And that is easy to say, but to do, it really takes discipline.
And just be yourself. You started like this, you can stay the same way. You don't have to act or, start putting suits on and, having your own jet maybe. I mean, you can have that, but don't change your personality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like maybe now you need to do more things, as in meeting potential investors, but don't quit everything you used to do and focus only on investors. Like, good, meet twice a week, meet investors. It's fine, no problem. I'm not saying don't do the new things. Of course, the new stage requires new skills and new actions. I understand that. But that does not mean full destruction of everything of the past. Keep as much as possible, adopt the new needed actions, and filter. Maybe you used to sit on the cashier every day 8 hours. Now do it 3 days a week, 4 hours. Don't go down to 0. I'm not saying you need to continue as much, because sometimes it's not possible. Because you have 5 branches, what are you going to make? Like, clone yourself? So it's not possible. But don't do this drastic change that is not needed, not called for. You just thought you should do it.
So what's your method for building a team that actually performs?
I think, especially when building a team, especially when you're by yourself at the beginning, the most important thing is to be the example. The team should respect you. And they don't respect you because you pay their salaries. They should respect you because they admire how much you're doing for the company. Because especially when you're starting, the team does not have enough trust in the company. They say, what is this company? Is it going to be here after a year? Is this a stable job? Will I be out of business or like out of a job after a year? Like, what is going on here? But when they see the owner really believing and really working on creating a company that is successful and growing, now they will have trust in this job safety, in this job stability, and they have admiration for the guy and respect that they want to work with him. People love to be around winners. Nobody wants to play for the team that is losing 10-0 every match. That sucks. Like, I'd rather stay home, you know? So the first and most important thing is for you to win on a personal level, to tell people or tell your team, hey, winning is possible. Look at me. I am winning. And so can you. So this will give them the belief, if the guy next to me is winning, maybe I can win too. Because people want to win. I don't think there is enough emphasis on the importance of winning in life. People think like, oh, enjoy the journey. I hate the journey. I don't care about the journey. I wish the journey finishes today and I get my money, you know? Like, of course, if someone has a goal of saying, I want to have $100 million and he has it tomorrow, maybe he's going to be miserable because now he does not want anything. Well, you can always have a new goal. But to be chasing the same goal for 30 years because you want to enjoy the journey, I think that is a really miserable existence, in my opinion, at least. So people need to win. People want to say, I want to have the 100 million. He wants to have it. And then he want to say, I want to finish like an Ironman race. And then he want to do that as well. And maybe he want to say, I want to travel 100 countries and write a book. And he should do that and write a book. And then. And that's what life is. But to say, I want to have a large company, I want to have $100 million, and he's been saying the same thing for 30 years, I feel this guy is like, oh, because I'm enjoying the journey. That's not a journey. That is, I don't know, stalling. That is you in an airport, not traveling to the final destination, not going home. Like, you're stuck. You're not in a journey. Journey, I think, has the, like, meaning that there is some progress. So is there progress? So people should win in life. Everybody should win in life. And for people to win, they need to have a confidence that they are able to win. And sometimes people don't have this confidence. So they count on your confidence in yourself and your execution and winning, and then your confidence in them. And they say, oh, he really has a lot of confidence in me. Maybe actually I can win in life. Oh, I'm really bad with technology. And you tell me, no, Ahmad, you're good. I saw you on the phone. I think you're great in technology. Just give yourself a chance. I say, maybe I am. Yeah, I'm actually good on my phone. Why can't I be good on a laptop? But I did not have the belief in myself. My confidence was like here. And then you came here with your confidence up here. And you told me like, Ahmad, let me pick you up a little bit. And you picked me up and I'm like seeing life differently now. Saying like, oh, actually, I did have success in my life. When I was a kid, I used to love computers. What happened to me? I don't know. I just like whatever happened. And then I stopped liking them. And I like phones. But phones or computer are the same thing. Maybe I can be good at a computer. And then maybe I'd be a great guy in your company. But I needed you to pick me up from where I am. But if I don't have enough confidence and respect for you, maybe your words would not mean much to me. You know? If you're now giving a podcast and a guy out of the street says like, oh, you're a great interviewer. I think you're great. You say thank you. But if the best podcaster in the world comes and say, wow, that's amazing. You're doing this podcast. I think you're going to be the best in the world. His words mean so much more to you because of who he is. Like this guy, of course, knows his business. Like he interviewed hundreds of people. So when Joe Rogan tell you you're the best podcaster he has seen, is different than me. Because I'm not the guy with the podcast of millions of subscribers. So his words has more weight than my words to you. So in order for your team to be lifted by you, you have to be something. So your words have weight that when you tell them, they feel it and they act upon it. And this happens when you win. So when you start winning and then you start to believe in them, they start winning. And I think this is how you build a successful team. You can follow up on them. You can have always to monitor their performance. And you can say like, oh, you came late 2 minutes today. Oh, this report should be sent by 11 and now it's 11:05, and you're pushing and you're pushing. And that is all good and needed and should be done. But what brings the fire out inside the person? I think what brings the fire inside the person, when he thinks he can win. I think a lot of people have given up on themselves, that they think like it's impossible for me to win, so I'm just going through life, like whatever, I need a job, the job pays me, I live, and it sucks. And all of a sudden you come in and you say like, no, Ahmad, your life does not have to suck, because you're one of the best employees I have seen in my life, and I have seen a lot, and I think you can really add some value to this company, and maybe you can even jump positions. I'm like, really? Like, you give me hope to say, let me apply myself again, see where can I reach, or what can I do. So not a lot of people are applying themselves because they gave up on themselves, and they gave up on the idea of them winning in life. So I need you to give me hope that I can win. And I need you to be very successful, that I think your words have a lot of value. And this belief could push me forward, that I give you all what I can. Because now I have a hope of success. Now I will apply myself. So I think that's what creates a really good, strong, powerful, high morale team, is the team members wanting to win, and they think it is possible for them to win.
And to add to what you said, I think it's much better to say we are winning together, like making them feel that my win is everyone's win. We're all winning in this. We're all in this game together. Whatever happens, we're going to have the same destiny at the end. I think that just fires something inside of them that will make them feel, the hype, maybe.
Exactly, because they feel they're part of something big. I can work for a company and they pay me 1,000, and you work for a company and pay you 1,000. Same sector, but your company is international, known, one of the best in the world, and I say like, I'm jealous. But why am I jealous? We're working in the same sector, same salary. But how did they pick you? Like, why did they pick you? You must be very special. You work in a very special place. So you being part of this team has its own value. So people want to be part of something bigger, and especially if this is a successful company and you're part of it, it gives you certain pride or confidence or, satisfaction.
I see a lot of people that want to start their own company, and they're smart and everything, but they're just lost in this, thinking, and they just don't know what to do. And what do you say to these people?
I say you need to, there's a famous saying, people majoring in the minors, putting much of their time on something that is not really important. So I think if you want to start a company, you should understand what is the most valuable thing a company has. A company could have the best locations in the world, but if they close one of their branches, they're still there. So is the branch the most valuable thing? No. They could lose a very high manager, director, VP, and hire somebody in his place. Even the CEO could leave. They bring a new CEO. So the leadership is not the important part. You could say the logo, but some companies change their own logos. You could say their training methods and manuals, but some companies are very successful without training manuals, just like some basic training, and they move on. So the equipment, they can be changed anytime. So what is the most valuable thing a company owns? And I think the most valuable thing is their relationships with customers. How many relationships have you built over the years? Do one person know you, or 10, or 1,000, or a million, or a billion? Some companies are known by billions of people and had hundreds of millions of customers once, and maybe have tens of millions every month. So this is the most important thing a company has. Number of relationships, successful relationships with customers, and getting you to buy again and again and again. I call it the active network of clients. How big is your network? How many people? Client means not only do I know you, but I do pay you. I buy from you because knowing you is good, but we want is a client that is paying. So number of people that are paying, an active network of clients, meaning he did not just buy one time and disappeared forever. He's actively buying. The most valuable thing a company owns is the active network of clients. So you, as a new business owner, every decision that comes on the table, ask yourself, is this going to directly increase my active network of clients and therefore increase my sales? Or is this long term? Oh, you should do this because in the next 5 years, you're not in the business of planning for 5 years. You're in the business of planning for next week. If next week is successful for the next 20 years, you're going to be very successful.
Yeah.
Just focus on next week. Today's Wednesday. Good. I want to make sure that by the end of this week, I can say I had a good week. And I will repeat that next week and the next week and the next week for the rest of my life. Of course, sometimes you have to do long-term planning, but this is not the time. This is the time to focus on today. Did I do enough today to make today a good day? And did I do enough this week to make this week a good day? Like we were discussing this before the podcast. I was telling you, I check number of followers on my Instagram every week. How many new followers did I gain this week? Did I gain 100 or did I gain 1,000? Or maybe I got 0, or maybe I lost 200. How come I lost 200? What did I do? Did I do something bad? Or maybe I was not active at all. Or if I got 100, good. How to make it 200? If I got 1,000, that's great. How did I get 1,000? What did I do? What content did I post? Maybe I talked about something people like. I should do more of. Maybe I went in collaboration with a new person. Maybe I should collaborate with more people. Maybe. But to analyze, you should know the situation. I bet you if we ask 1,000 company owners, when was the last big success you had? And you say, oh, I don't know. Most of them would not know. And if those knew, I tell them, give me the exact date and give me exactly what you were doing at the time. And I bet you not 1,000 people, maybe more than 900 people will not know how to answer this question. How come? You start a company, you're selling microphones, and you have the best week ever, and you don't know why? What was this week? That was when we were in the electronics festival and blah. Good. Maybe you should live in that festival, You should do it every year. Maybe you should look for similar festivals or like showrooms to be part of, because this is getting you exposure and sales. Like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Of course, that's a good idea because it was successful. But they do not track their record. They do not know their performance. They do not know how they were doing in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't know which week was the best and why. They don't know what the average week is and why. And when was the bad week and why. They don't know. So they're like guessing. They're just like randomly working, going through life, hoping things are going to get better. But how? By chance? By chance, if you're betting on chance, chances are things are going to be worse over time. And this is what everybody has. 90% of new businesses fail. Of course, if you're randomly working on them, they're going to fail. How come large corporations continue to exist successfully? Because they have organized execution of successful action. That's what they do. They, over time, learn what are the successful actions. They do them over and over in an organized manner. Not just like, let's do marketing today. Like, no, we know that we need to do marketing all year round. We cut our marketing campaigns into quarters. Each quarter we have months. Each month we have weeks. And we know this is the calendar of this week marketing plan. Look at it. Wow, you guys are very organized. Yes, of course. How do you choose the marketing activities? Well, we know what our customer like. We know what the trends this week. We know what are the channels that are successful today in this day. And we use them. That's an organized activity. That's an organized effort toward the goal. And if you continue to take organized, proper effort toward a goal, you will reach a goal. People do not take organized effort. They take it once and quit it. They don't know actually what is the proper effort. So they're doing wrong effort every now and then wondering, how come we're not successful? I ask you a question. You go to an English language institute. What do? You walk in, they give you a placement test. They say we will put you, Ahmad, on level 1 because this is the first time you speak English in your life. And level 1 is for 3 months. And by the end of 3 months, you're going to be graduating level 1 and going to level 2. And we will repeat level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And by the end of level 6, you will be a fluent speaker. Level 1 has certain material, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Now, your schedule is Monday through Friday from 8 to 12 every day. Good. This is your teacher for listening and speaking. This is your teacher for reading and writing. Good. Now, we need you to show up every day, okay? If you don't show up, we will have to follow up on you and make sure you show up. What is this? This is proper effort continuously that makes you reach that goal. And we do it. Like we all went to school, and this is what school is. And then we leave school and we say, like, how can I start a company? Well, a company is a project. The school system, I know a lot of people criticize it, and maybe I don't say it is the best thing in the world, but there's a lot that could be learned from this. How are we putting populations through a system of 12 years and making them, almost all of them, get the same gains? That's incredibly successful, I think. And if you think from a management perspective, not to like, are they learning things that can apply in real life? Like, I'm not discussing the content. I'm just saying this book was learned by everybody. That's amazing. How did you guys do this? Because it's organized. We have a schedule. We have days of the week. We have 4 months that we need to finish this book. And you're going to have math 3 days a week, blah, 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 this time. So there is no guesswork. If there is no guesswork, people are going to go through the steps. And somebody's supervising to make sure that the plan that we know works is being executed. Not that you did step 1, 2, 3, and then you left. No, that you continued until step 10. We know by the time you're at step 10, you will be successful. And this is how people should run their lives and businesses. Like, stop the guesswork. Have a certain track that you want to walk on and cut it into small parts that are digestible daily and do them. And that's all it takes.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. A lot of people guess, obviously, and it really makes everything harder. And it's as you said, what they do in schools is just basically applying the same skills inside their business. It's just the same thing. Apply the plan and start executing basically, and you're going to start seeing results. Sometimes you need to adjust this plan. It's not going to work always the same thing. You sometimes you have to shift and take things off and add things in. Sometimes you're going to miss days or get lazy, but at least you know what you missed. At least you know that something happened here, and you're keeping track. So that's really important for you guys. You need to start doing this. Yeah. And what about CEOs? What are the skills that they need to have or develop? Every CEO, like a skill that every CEO needs to have.
I think 2 major skills. Number 1, ability to confront people and hold them accountable. Because through consulting, I did consulting for, I'm not 30 years in this business or anything, but I have done for like tens of companies. And some companies I did a little bit with them. Some of them I did like longer periods. And some of the most successful companies I dealt with was a very small company, but I got them to have 20 times the sales. So their sales went up 20x. But they were a very small scale. But to actually go 20x is still an accomplishment. And I dealt with another company. This is where very successful. And we reached 8 times the sales than we started. So we started day 1. By the time we finished, or a little bit after that, they reached 8 times the sales. Very, very good company, very successful company. What I noticed is Maybe the first time I meet the client, maybe we need 2 hours session. Maybe the second time we need another 2 hour session. But what they really need is not the 2 hour session every month. What they need is 15-minute session twice a week. This is what I noticed. And I said, how come? Why do people do much better when I'm with them twice a week? And even if for like half an hour, and then we have nothing to discuss. But if I do once every 6 months, 6 hour session, they don't get much. How come? What is missing? What am I not noticing? And I like to learn from observation. Of course, it's good to learn from other people because they will just save you time by their experience. But I think everybody should live life as a researcher or like an observer, because you going through life, you can learn a lot from life. I could say something today and you say like, that was not a good thing for Ahmad to say. And then you say, I will not say it. So you learn by being exposed to other people. So a person should learn every day in his life through observation. And he knows like, I like this, I will do it. I don't like this, I will not do it. Good. So he should learn from other people. So I said, based on these observations, how come the people I spend less time with, but more frequently, are doing much, much, much better than the people I spend a long time with, but infrequent? And I realized that the successful running of a company is dependent upon making the correct decisions over small matters frequently. So, CEO has to monitor 10 decisions every day. Very small. It's not going to be life-changing. If he does the right decision, good. If he does the okay decision, good. If he does the wrong decision, is okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. But those small decisions add up. And if the last 50 small decisions was 40 out of them were wrong, you will notice that this was the track and you went out 1 degree, and then the 1 degree, add another one to it, became 2 degrees, 8 degrees, and then you're like that. And you're like, what happened to us? We were doing great. I don't remember the day when the disaster happened, because there was never a disaster. There was just an accumulation of small wrong decisions. So what does a company owner need from me? He needs me to help him make the correct decisions on these small matters continuously. So this is why they need me twice a week for 30 minutes. Like, hey, Ahmad, a guy told us we should collaborate and do something outside Kuwait. Should we do it? No. Why? Because you have no control over it, and probably it's going to cost you more in marketing and not going to make you the money. Spend the money in Kuwait. Good. Hey, buddy, we're not going to do it. Good. Thank you. That takes like a minute. But if they actually went with the guy and it did not work out, it's going to take so much of their time and energy and money and not going to give them the income. So they say, what happened here? A small wrong decision. So if the consultant should, at least we're talking about medium enterprises, less than like 100 people. If that's what a consultant should do, in my opinion, then in a large company, that's what the CEO should do. Track the small decisions, make sure they are the right decisions, and hold people accountable. And this is part of the accountability. You look over the VPs, what they're doing, and you make sure they're doing the right things, and they're accountable, that are they executing the work should be done, and then meeting the targets that you already set for them. So accountability. And number 2 is sales. I mean, the CEO is a salesman essentially, because even if he does not overlook the operations, he's okay. The VP did not become a VP because he's like incapable. He's a very capable, and he can hold the CEO position if the CEO goes on vacation. So the VP is capable. Maybe both VPs are capable. So what happens if they don't have you supervising them? Probably they're going to be fine. That's not going to be the end of the world. It's important to have accountability. Almost everybody should be accountable to someone. That's why the owners or like supervise the CEO because they want to hold him accountable. But more importantly is we need you to bring the money in. So the CEO, through relationships, through who he knows in the market, through blah, 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 should increase the top line of the company. And he should push every day to increase the top line through new marketing campaigns, new collaborations, new products, direct sitting with big clients, depending on what you're selling, and close them with your salespeople. You want to essentially grow the company successfully. And that means increasing the top line without increasing expenses. So you're actually increasing profits. So the CEO is a sales job, and he needs to be a great salesman. So beside holding everybody under him accountable, he needs to be a very successful salesman if he wants to be a successful CEO.
Yeah, I like what you said about these small decisions that we don't notice. They start building up over time, and it goes like through other stuff as well. Maybe, not going for the gym, maybe, like other stuff, other things in life, other aspects. It's always these small decisions that add up daily. And it's really important to keep track of them. Yeah.
Because I think that's what life is. Life is a lot of small decisions.
Exactly.
You see, I think one of the most stupid things to come to a kid at the end of the year and say, "Oh, how did you fail this year?" Say, "Well, I failed in math, guy in second grade." Now I don't think there's failure in like elementary school, but back in the day there was. So let's say 20 years ago, guy fails second grade, has to do it again. Say, "How come?" He says, "I failed in math." Say, "How come you failed in math?" He says, "I don't know. Math is very hard." And you say, "How come math is hard?" And he says, "I don't know. I think I don't understand it." And then you put 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you say, "What do you see?" And he says, he does not know 2 is a number. He says, like, there's 2 snakes, and then there's 2 lines in the middle, and then I don't know what's going on. And I say, "Oh, you don't know the numbers." "Oh, good. So we need to teach you the numbers, and we need to teach you what does the plus sign mean, and what does the equal mean. And if you teach him, like, this is not a snake, this is like number 2. Do you know what a number is? To represent quantity. 2 apples, we put this. 2 oranges, 2 tables, blah, blah. And this means 2 apples with 2 apples. So if we put them, how many have? We have 4. Good. These 2 lines mean equal. So what happens here is 4. I say, "Oh, that's easy. Good." So the parent that came at the end of the year say like, "Oh, my kid is struggling with math." He did not struggle the day he got his like scorecard. He was struggling when the teacher explained the meaning of numbers. So if on that day you say, "Hey, what did you learn in school?" And he says, "I don't know. Today I was confused in math." And he said, "What did they teach you?" And he says, "The numbers." And we say, what do you understand?" He says, "All of them." We say, "Okay, good. Let's learn them together, 1 through 9, and then 10. And then maybe you correcting him on August save him in May." People think because he failed at May, the problem happened in May. It did not happen in May. It happened in August last year. And it was a very small problem, but you left it ignored. So then the plus and minus lesson came in, and he was confused. And then instead of 1 plus 1, it becomes 14 plus 16, and he's even more confused. And then he's like, "Minus, I don't even know what's plus and minus. I don't know what's the difference. How come the number goes up or down? I don't know what's going on. I think this is the hardest thing in the world." And then fails class. And you think the problem was in the final exam. The problem was in day 2 of school. So this ignoring the small problem over time creates disaster. And then people think a disaster happened because it happened in one day. And they think a disaster is solved by massive action, when generally just to clean up the accumulated wrong decisions, just clean it up. It's very simple, but it takes effort and should be done.
So if you wanted to start your own company from scratch again, what are the things that you do differently? Would you do everything the same, or do you feel you did miss some mistakes before and you can correct them now? And
of course, we did a lot of mistakes. If I want to start a new company today, I will build it side by side with a personal brand. So if I'm gonna start a lighting company, sell lights, I would like to create a personal brand on being an expert in lights and teach people about it and create awareness and tell them the difference. Because I think personal brand today is like a hack, you know. People love to use this word. I think it is today a hack. And as much as there are personal brands, I think there is so much room for more, especially in niches that are technical, you know. So so if you are starting a camera company, be the authority on like filmmaking and teaching people about it, because when there is a face and somebody speaking, it is really easy. If there's only a voice, it is a little bit harder. If there is no voice, no face, only you're typing, it's even harder. So so now if you have a personal brand, try to start a business that is very connected with it, because it's going to help you tremendously, because you're going to be a marketing machine for that business. And if you're starting a business and you are not a personal brand, mix your personal brand with it, and that is going to help push the business so much. And if I am about to start a new business, I will make sure to attach personal brands to it. And I actually have this idea in mind, maybe down the road, to be something close to what I do, and to have the products, to have me represent the products and use it daily. And then marketing and living life and your day become kind of all like one activity. And then, for example, you you own a gym, and then you going to the gym is marketing the gym, and you working out in the gym is marketing the gym, and then you're having your break lunch in the gym is marketing the gym, and then you're looking athletic while traveling is marketing the gym, and then so your selfie on an airplane is actually marketing your gym even though you're on vacation, and you working out on vacation is marketing the gym. So it is like all helping each other. So I think people who have companies, starting companies, and do not have personal brands are missing on so much. Now, of course, I understand not everybody can do it due to not wanting. Number one. Number two, they don't feel it's appropriate because of certain considerations they have. I understand that. I'm not saying that's the only way to succeed, but I think that is a very, very, very big card that, if used, can help you tremendously.
Yeah, use personal branding, guys. It really works, and I've seen it a lot, especially on LinkedIn and other platforms. If you see a person talking, you're always gonna connect with them most of the time. But if you see a company page, you will feel like there's something missing. There's a human element that you
Yes.
can't see, and so it's always a good idea to give it a shot. So yeah. So thank you very much for joining. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I had so much fun, and I think hopefully this will be a nice interview for the people watching.
Yeah, appreciate it. And thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. As always, share this with your friends, with everyone you know, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Appreciate it. Have a good one.